3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Ahoy, friends. It's me, Dave Landau. After a long night on stage, I like to kick back with a captain's hat and a fine cigar and watch the Dennis and Andy show. These guys are huge nerds, but they're the kind that you actually want to hang out with. Enjoy them. I do.
Well, hello, everybody. It is Wednesday, and you know what that means. It's the Dennis and Andy show. I should be in show tunes.
I have often said that.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
That could be
for
my
the deaf, mute, and blind.
Oh, deaf and mute maybe, but blind. Why would you deprive somebody of looking at this?
We already know. We already know.
This goodness right here. You're insane. You are insane. But anyhow, enough of that. It is the Dennis and Andy show, and today we have a guest, a real special guest. I met this fine gentleman in Fayetteville at the Fayetteville Comic-Con. Dennis, of course, blew it off because of something about, I got to help my mother out. She had surgery. Whatever. Good Son of the Year award. Blah, blah, blah.
Or I could have hung out with Andy, although it sounds like I missed a lot of fun with Andy and Bart. But that's okay. There'll be next time. Hopefully not next time for surgery, but next time for having fun.
We'll see. I have to really think twice about inviting you with me.
Like that. I'm a sidekick. Whoa, I can't believe you just implied that.
I'm peanut butter. You're jelly. One of us is more important than the other. Batman, Robin.
Jelly.
Batman, Robin.
Are there peanut butter filled donuts? I don't think so.
Yes.
Jelly.
Actually, there are. Krispy Kreme has Reese's peanut butter type donuts at specific times of the year. So suck it, pal. All right. Without further ado, so our guest is Brian Prince. He is a stuntman actor. And Dennis and I actually saw him a few years ago on the big screen, not knowing it when we went and saw The Predator.
The Predator.
Because he was the Predator. So nice round of applause. Look at that, Brian. Our audience loves you.
Fantastic.
I mean, come on. A standing ovation like that. What's up, Marcus? Welcome to the show. It's good seeing you again.
Yeah, thank you. Glad to be here. It's good seeing you again, too.
Yeah, man. It was definitely fun hanging out in Fayetteville and chatting and stuff. And I was, every time that we were chatting where we were standing next to each other, I felt very inferior. So that was nice.
But then again, he feels inferior to most people he stands next to. So, take it for what it's worth.
I just really am upset that Dennis wasn't there because he is 6'1" and he lords it over me. So it would have been so nice to see him having to look up to somebody.
Yeah.
To know what I go through.
Now, there are a couple of guys, Mike, who's usually on. I think he's 6'7", 6'8". And then Carl's 7'3". So we've got, I always have to look up to Carl every time. And when he asks Dennis, do you need something off that top shelf? He just reaches on the top and can pull it. I don't even have to get on the ladder. I'm appreciative.
There you go. That actually brings us to a very good question. At what age did you hit 6'10"?
19.
Get out of here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you remember how tall you were at 12?
Yeah, I was 6'2".
Wow. Really? You were 6. You were taller than him at 12.
So fast because I surprisingly get asked those questions a lot.
There is no way you did not tower over everybody in that class.
No, yeah, I was always the tallest kid.
So I'm assuming you got recruited for basketball immediately.
Yeah, I hated it.
Did you really?
Yeah. No, I played basketball every year of high school, and I played like rec league like 5 or so years before that. And I was the weird tall kid who did not like playing basketball. but that's like, but the thing with that though is like so I do parkour and I'm a stuntman, so I have really good coordination now. But the thing is that people don't understand with tall kids is it's like for like 7 or so years for longer, for like 18, 15 years, you are significantly taller than you were the year before, and you're just like, how do I use this thing? And it's difficult. And so when they put you in sports, they just like expect you to be good at it. So they're like, do the thing, play the ball. And you're like, I don't know how to walk. I need help.
Well, it's funny because you brought up parkour. And, you know, when I think of that, and I've seen people do it and stuff, you know, they're generally probably more around my height, which is 5'10".
Yeah.
You know, and they're lean, of course. So you've got that. But 6'10", how did you get into parkour?
Yeah, that was kind of, Andy mentioned that, and I was like, parkour? And I'm like, so my niece is a gymnast, and you know, you can like just like in gymnastics, the shorter you are, the easier it tends to be. That's why you don't see a lot of really tall gymnasts. Parkour's along those same veins, so I'm so confused and intrigued.
Yeah, it by all accounts, it should not have worked. But it was a mix of like bullheaded confidence. No, not confidence. Arrogance, I guess. I don't know. And yeah, I saw it for the first time. What is it, on Casino Royale, like the James Bond movie, where he's that bomb maker. So the guy he's chasing after in that movie is actually, his name is Sebastian Foucault. He's like the co-founder of Parkour. He's one of the original people who created the sport. And I remember seeing that, being like, man, that's awesome. I want to do that. But then being like, oh, I'm too tall. I probably can't do that. And so look, about it, a couple of years later, I got really into Ninja Warrior, and this is before it was on NBC.
Oh, okay.
When it was still like the Japanese game show. Mm-hmm. And so one year they sent 3 Americans over to compete in the Japanese game show, and 2 of them were parkour athletes. One of them wasn't, but now he is. He was a climber, and just watching them tear apart the course is really inspiring, and that just like made me really want to try parkour. And luckily, I just was in this place where I was like, yeah, whatever, I'll try it. And so I just went for it, and it was really, really hard, like learning it at 19 years old at my height, and there were a lot of like crashing and burning. I think someone in the chat saying there's an echo. I'm not sure if that's on my side or.
Yeah, obviously, I can't hear it.
I don't hear it. If anybody else is hearing an echo, type it in the comments. We'll troubleshoot this, see if it's on our end or not.
Create an echo in the comments. But yeah.
Brian,
so
real quick though, do you hear an echo, Brian, on your end?
I think I can hear me slightly in your coming from you, but I just think that's because there's no headphones or something.
Yeah, I mean
Eric does say it's always Andy's fault.
Everything, it's like
always
my fault.
We ain't trying to do anything perfect. This is like, we just
part of the thing is some guests we will get a comment like there's a little echo, some we won't. It just depends. I mean, usually when it's just me doing this, when I'm on somebody else's stream, I always have headphones on. Dennis and I have tried sharing headphones, but I don't like my head this close to his when we share headphones. So
I doubt it's getting in the way. But yeah, the parkour thing is like so I got really into it after that, and since then it's been 14 years of doing parkour.
So did you try Ninja Warrior stuff or no?
I've never actually tried it. I sent in a tape once for the show, but I've always been too lazy to do another tape. I asked because if you just put me on, I'll do it, and I'll probably upset them because I'll tear apart the first chorus, and they'll be like, "This tall guy can't do it." I'm like, "Yeah, I can. It's easy." The first courses 2 and 3 are like not easy.
So we watched Ninja Warrior. My daughter and I did when it first came on NBC 6-7 years ago, whatever it was, and I think it was the season right before COVID. A friend of mine actually submitted and made it on the show. I think he made it through like 5 obstacles or whatever, and then he splashed out. But he still made it on, which is just a feat in itself. With the amount of submissions they get. So there's actually a ninja course in town, at a gym and that's all they do there is the ninja type stuff.
Yeah.
And it is so difficult. I mean, like I can do I can't remember what they're called, but it's the very first thing in the first course where the little platforms are angled and you jump back and forth, whatever that's called.
Yeah. The steps.
Yeah. So I can do that, but when it comes to like any of the pull-up stuff where you're really using your upper body stuff, even though I work out, forget it. I mean, it's a total different thing.
Yeah, it's a whole other skill in its own. But yeah, no, Ninja Warrior is tough. It's interesting. There's a whole like thing with parkour Ninja Warrior, but I don't want to get too in the weeds on that.
So how often do you still just like go out and practice parkour and stuff, or?
Yeah, not as much as I used to. I was in the World Chase Tag USA tournament last year, for like one of the teams, and that was super fun. If you haven't heard of that, like that's such a cool thing. It's called World Chase Tag. It's probably
where was that held?
It's this last year was in Akron, Ohio. The year before that it was in Atlanta, Georgia. But they've been doing it over in Europe, in the United Kingdom, for like 8 or so years, I think. But it's cool. It's the best parkour you'll ever see. I still like that's what I tell people. It's the best parkour you'll ever see because it's all improvised. It's not like someone planning a parkour thing, which is still cool, which is still awesome. That's most of the sport. But like in World Chase Tag, it is one person trying to catch another person in a bunch of obstacles, and it is just like it's amazing. It's bananas because it's just like you'll see some people do some stuff, and then I remember at the tournament, like you'd ask them like, "Oh, how'd you do that?" And they're like, "I don't even know. I just like that's just what happened."
Well, so at a tournament like this, because for guys like us, at least for me, when I think parkour, obviously I think of the stuff I've seen on YouTube where they set the camera up and they're just going off of buildings, whatever. But for a tournament like this, do they actually build stuff that you're supposed to kind of do it off of and whatnot?
Yeah, there's a arena called the Quad, and it just has a bunch of platforms and railings, and yeah.
I gotta look that up. Eric Guapo asked, because he joined late, he just wanted to know what Predator movie, and it was the last one, Eric, in 2018, The Predator. Oh, we lost him. He'll be back. Something probably happened. That's weird.
That is weird.
So he dropped out. I did not press anything, and he's back.
I'm back.
And he's back.
Just like that.
I'm not sure what happened.
But anyhow, yeah, so he was the Predator in The Predator from 2018.
Yeah, that one. So
look at that.
Oh, wow.
That's my little collection of my action.
Why don't you full screen them so we can see back?
Let's see
there.
if we can see some of that stuff. I'll full screen
This is the pop of my character right here.
Nice.
Of course.
Now wait, is that your signature? Did you sign your own pop?
Yeah, I was signing it at a signing, and then the guy gave me one, so I just like put eyebrows on it. I always mess with my own ones. I put like goofy stuff on them, and then this was a Emissary Predator one. I played Emissary Predator one in the film, but they cut out the emissaries, so this is what it looked like more or less. And that's a whole story. We can get into that if you want.
Oh yeah, well, now that we're on to it, before we get to the Predator and your other credits and stuff, how do you become a stuntman in the movies?
Yeah, how did this fall? How did you wake up one day and go, I want to be a stuntman?
Kind of. So it's a funny question because a lot of people are like, yo, how do I get into stunts? And like, you can never answer. You're like, I don't know. Because like, you could take 10 stunt people, put them in a room and ask them all how they got into it. And they will all have a different answer completely. I mean, film is just kind of like that. There's no like right way to film. So the most traditional way is like, there's stunt camps or stunt schools. You can like pay a few $1,000s and go for like a week or two and they'll train you in a bunch of different stuff. But, ultimately, it's just a combination of luck and skill. And so for me, I grew up in Atlanta. I lived in Atlanta from the ages of like 7 to like 29. And so once the film industry came to Atlanta, since I was doing parkour already, I just accidentally started meeting a lot of stunt people at like the training sessions that we would be at. I have a couple of friends in Atlanta who went from doing parkour like to doing stunts full time, and I'm a very like networky. I don't even like saying that. I just like people, so I meet whoever I can, and eventually somebody just was like, "Oh, you're tall. Like you could do a stunt thing. Like I could use you for a stunt thing." And I was like, "What? Okay." And then I did my first gig like that. This guy Jan Dran, he's really cool. He was the first guy who ever hired me. This for a Tyler Perry TV show episode, and then they didn't even need me because Tyler Perry came out and was like, "He's too tall," and I was like, "Oh, okay." So then I went home. But that allowed me to get my Screen Actors Guild. So since then I was working a little bit more. So for me, it was like coming in, like, I don't know, you want to have a specialty. So like I know people who do like motorcycle stunts specifically. Yeah. There are people who do like driving stuff, people who do like tactical weaponry stuff, especially if they came from the military. My specialty was parkour and movement because essentially I'm 6'10", but I can move like I'm 5'8". And so whenever they need someone big that can move well, like I'm hopefully in the running for that. Yeah, in the background of this, I noticed that you're holding the Civil War.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that was I think the third thing I was in was Captain America: Civil War, and because I was filmed in Atlanta, and like same story.
So how'd that come about?
Yeah, like same thing. I just like knew the right people, and I like kept introducing myself and handing out my resume and stuff, and then they were filming the Lagos, Nigeria scene, and basically because the scene they filmed it in Atlanta, but because it's set in Africa, they're like, hey, we need every black stunt person possible. And so I was on that list, luckily, and that was fantastic. That was such a fun time.
So then can you be seen? Like if we're watching Captain America: Civil War, can you go this scene and right there?
Yeah, in Civil War, there's like 3 parts where you can see me because we all wore different outfits that whole week just because we had to play multiple areas. But the part you probably see me the clearest is when the Crossbones and his goons, they like drive an armored car into the marketplace.
Yep.
In the very beginning, like I'm like one of the last people to move out of the way of that car before it smashes into the marketplace.
Oh, cool.
So that was fun. Yeah.
That's cool. Now I can say I know 2 people that were in Civil War.
That is cool.
Let's see. Eric wants to know, did you get to keep the Predator helmet?
No, they didn't let me keep anything, man. It's funny. That is like probably the most like the question is people like, did you get to keep anything? And it's like, no, because with film stuff, the prop, there's always like a prop master who keeps track of everything. And like some movies, they'll be like, yeah, you can keep this, but like for the most part, like anything Fox or Disney, they're just like, no, this is ours. And you're like, what are you gonna do with it? They're like, nothing.
Yeah, they're like, we're just gonna put it in the forge.
But they're aren't they custom fitted for you? Like I'm assuming you had to go get fitted for the gloves, the helm, everything. So they're not going to fit anybody else.
No, yeah, it fits my body.
Yeah, like even like that's a great question, Dennis. I never even thought about it, but because we talked about it in Fayetteville, how they had to cast stuff, body wise, but even the helmet, like the inside of the helmet fits just for your head, right?
Well, it depends on what we're talking about because the head fits my head. The mask, like this mask, just goes onto the head. So the head, like the Yatua head, it has like there's a clamshell inside of it that's formed in my head that's attached to the head, and then the helmet goes onto that face. It's a lot of pieces.
Now, when you're wearing, when you're in the Predator head without the metal face mask and stuff, where you can see his mouth and stuff, when you open and close your mouth, does that actually affect?
No,
not at all.
That's a good question. No, it's animatronic. So there's 3 puppeteers controlling. One has the mouth, one does the jaw, and one does the eyebrows. But it's 3 different puppeteers working together with me doing the motion, making everything happen. Those are my eyes, though, but they're in giant. What do you call it? Contact lenses.
So when you So I know, like when you get fitted, you go into the makeup, but you got a lot more than makeup. When you got on, let's say early in the morning, how many hours did it take you to get fitted every day to get everything on in order for you to shoot?
It was like 45 minutes to an hour.
Oh,
No, that's not
that's a
bad,
lot
yeah.
less than I thought you were going to say.
No, yeah, everyone like not everyone, but like people think it's a long time, rightfully so. It's like a lot of stuff. So I did an episode of Walking Dead that was 2.5 hours to get the makeup on, but with Predator it was like an hour at the slowest. Like by the time we were used to it, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, because just how efficiently it was made. Like it's a giant suit. Like I would slip into the body, they'd zip up the back, put on the hands and feet, and then they would put on all the armor and the clothing on top of the body. And then I'm in it. So it was really well designed, and so getting in and out of it wasn't too bad, which was annoying to try to convince that to the second ADs sometimes, because they would suit me up thinking it was this whole ordeal, and then they'd leave me in it for like hours before having me do anything, and I'm just like, yo, why not just put me in like before we need to put it on? Because the thing about suit work that a lot of people don't understand is when you're, and like let me grab this because this helps a lot. Because like when you're wearing it, you're always working, and I think like a lot of, and like anybody out there who does cosplay, especially Predator cosplay, like can attest to this. Like I think a lot of people, like you see it and you're just like, yeah, that's cool, because it looks cool. But while you're wearing it, like this is like a picture of me in costume. But like while you're wearing it, you are sweating and you're holding, 80 pounds or whatever. And so here's like a picture of me next to the director and the writer.
Oh, cool. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and especially with the head, like the head, you're like it's 11 pounds here, so it's just weighing you down. So you're pulling your head up, and then everything else is just like put on an 85-pound weight vest, and that's how you feel. And so it's funny because no one can see that, so they always like kind of forget. So like they'll just be like, oh, let's have him stand here, or let's have him stand here, and that's when it's good to either be able to advocate for yourself, which is really tricky on film sets because there's a lot of egos floating around. So if you say something a little too assertive to the wrong person, they're going to think you have an attitude, when in reality you're like, no, I'm trying not to die. But what really helps is when you work with really cool lead actors who have like a lot of clout to throw around, and they use some of that clout to help you out. So like Boyd Holbrook and Trevante Rhodes were 100% like that. Boyd Holbrook especially, like there was a day where I was just sitting there with my head on because they were like, well, once Boyd gets here, we need to be ready to go. And then Boyd showed up and he was mad because he's like, why does Brian have his head on? And they're like, well, we wanted to be ready for you. They're like, and he was like, no, like don't do that. Like we'll wait for him. Like, right. Like we can do that. And I was like, oh, thanks, Boyd. I appreciate you so much. Because like if I say that, like it doesn't really, like, I don't know. Making movies is awesome. A film set is one of the most like classist place in modern America, like next to an airplane. Like, you know what I mean? Like on the ground, we're all equal, but the moment you get into the air, it's like you can't pass this curtain. This is for first class, you peasant. Like film sets are like that, where like depending on who you are, they're like, how dare you come into this tent? You are not lead actor, or you are not producer. Like you are merely a crew, which bothers me because in my opinion, the crew are the coolest people on the film set for a few reasons. One, they do fantastic work. They're like, I'm sorry, like holding a boom mic like this for hours, hard. Like making a giant spaceship out of nothing over the course of 2 weeks, incredible. And also the crew, and this rings true for multiple experiences I've had on set. They're the most fun ones to shoot, like to like talk with, because they're the most like stoked about movies. Usually, they're just like, oh yeah, we get to work in the movies, and you're like, yeah, I know, right? Like this is great. Because there's a lot of times where you're with like the lead actors or the producers, and they're not like that. They're kind of like, and not all of them, they, but like a lot of times they'll be kind of like jaded or like really focused on money, and so they'll just be like, oh, is this cheap? Is this how can we make this cheaper? Oh, this is too expensive. But it's like, and then I'm over here like, yo, like I'm on the set of a Marvel movie. This is amazing. Like I'm still a giant nerd at heart, so like I still can't get over that whenever I'm on set.
Dude, no, I hear you. I can only imagine. Eric wants to know if you could see out of the face mask, and he's talking about the actual helmet.
Yeah, no, oh, I know. No, no, I couldn't. I don't know who designed that, but they did not design it to be worn.
So when you were wearing it,
It's like a box on your head.
so let's say you get the helmet on. Well, okay.
Yeah.
I assume they would put the helmet on, not like, hey, put the helmet on him way over there and then walk him to set. Because that would make sense because you couldn't see. So you'd be like, well, you better hold my hand and walk me to the set.
That is what happened.
Oh, really?
Like, because like it has these tiny eyes, right? And like you can see up there, it's got these eyes, but the eyes are like, they're like here.
Oh, right.
And they're small, and you can barely see out of them. And if you're seeing out of them, you're seeing down. And then the moment you put it on, they fog up because they're lenses, and my body is trapped heat. And so all the heat is in the head now, which is insanely hot in there. It's a sauna. So you just can't see. So the workaround we had is my guy, Mike, who's my makeup special effects guy, amazing guy. Mike Fields, super awesome. He cut out a bunch of vents in it where he could, but then he ended up just taking out the lenses and putting in different lenses. And we did it so he could take them out if he needed to. Like if we did far away shots, we just took the lenses out because you couldn't even tell. That helped a bit, but honestly, not a lot. Still blind. So it's one of the things like I don't get acknowledged for much with the role, because there's no way for anybody to know unless you know. Is that like most of the shots, almost every shot I did where I'm wearing the battle mask, I am blind, and I would have to go through it with the mask off and basically just rehearse it so many times that I was like, cool. Yeah, I'll just do this without looking, and then I would do it without looking. There's this scene where I walk into the school after blowing up the door, and we ended up going with the take where I put my hand on the ceiling. That was because I couldn't see. There were like 3 takes before that where I just bashed my head into the door. And so finally I just was like, I'm going to do this and walk in. And they're like, oh, that looks great. I'm like, cool, because I had to do that because I couldn't see.
So you're saying it's heavy, you can't see. But for me, the most important question is, how hot was it in there? I'm a hot-blooded person to start with. Something tells me I would be like an easy bake oven.
Yeah, it's an inferno. I mean, it's like you're really hot, you're sweating buckets. You can just I could just twist my arm and sweat would drip out. And yeah, like to Randy's question, like yeah, people would come in with water and stuff, but it's like I don't know. It was a cool little master class in hydration for me because water is okay, but you need like Gatorade or coconut water because you need electrolytes because you're sweating bullets out. And so that was basically I went through like I don't know 8 Gatorades a day.
Wow.
And luckily you don't have to pee very often because you're sweating so much. But if I did, luckily there were some hatches.
I was going to say, do they have a secret hatch? I hope.
Yeah, right. Like there was, but it wasn't really that helpful. I just got really good at timing my bathroom breaks with our lunch breaks, which like I'm not even getting that, but because it was like a fight sometimes to get out of the suit for lunch, which is an interesting thing because according to the union, I have to get out of the suit, but they're gonna do what saves money. But yeah, so that was great. It's hot and it's you're losing a lot of fluids, and yeah, it's a lot.
So how does one what did they have you do in the audition for the Predator?
Our audition was very movement based because they wanted a mobile character. So I lucked out completely for this whole thing. So apparently there was a group of people that had been like shortlisted after like being put on a big list. I was not on that list. And then the stunt coordinator talked to somebody who was like, you should get a parkour person. And then they talked to somebody who I know personally who recommended me. And then they called me like, are you real? And I was like, yeah, who is this? And then they flew me to LA for the audition a week after that call. And the audition was at Tempest Freeriding Academy, which is a parkour facility in the Valley in Chatsworth and outside of LA. And I'd always wanted to go there. I'd never been, always wanted to go. So for me, it was a win-win. Like I either get this cool audition or I don't, and I get to go to this parkour gym for free. And I just kind of did my thing, and I just like played around and had fun. And apparently they liked that because of how I moved. Because I don't move like a typical tall person. I move very well. It's like the thing I do. And so I think the other guys are doing this kind of like, I'm the predator. I move slow, and I was just like zipping around, swinging, perching, like flipping. And so then they picked me for that because of that. Yeah.
Cool.
That's really cool. I mean, I want to go back and watch the movie again now, just so I can watch the movements and stuff, and really just focus on, since I've met you and everything, to just almost kind of deconstruct it in a way.
I wish I had my audition. I wish I had that on film, because I was like, I loved that. It was so fun for me. Yeah.
So out of your different gigs, which one's your favorite? Which one have you had the most fun doing? I suppose either the most fun or is it the most popular? Could be the same thing.
No, that's a good question. I don't know. I think my favorite was probably Black Panther, just because it's Black Panther, and that was super awesome to be a part of. One of my favorites was it came out 2 days ago. It was Three Busy Debras. It was this comedy. It's this comedy show on HBO Max. It's episode 3 of season 2. I get to be like it's a comedic comedy show, so I actually got to act on it.
Oh, sweet!
That was
I have
fun.
HBO Max. What's the name of it again?
It's called Three Busy Debras. It's an Adult Swim comedy show.
And is it it's the most recent episode?
Yeah, it's like the second to most recent. It's called it's episode 3. So season 2, episode 3. And that was fun just because it was different. It wasn't like stunts related.
I gotta check that out.
But yeah,
I've never heard of it.
But yeah, Black Panther. Let's see, Eric asked. Like, I was one of the Jabari tribe warriors for Black Panther, and so that was fun.
So in Black Panther, is there another scene where you can go, that's me? Like we watch it and I go, I know that guy.
I mean, no. If you watch it, I could be like, I'm back there. Where you don't see me, because it's the big battle. So there's like 50 of us, and like we're all wearing the same thing. So
okay.
But you had to yell the big battle cry, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's why it was my favorite. Is we were like going nuts. Like, I was definitely acting a lot. One of my favorite gigs I ever did was an episode of The Gifted. I never watched it, but it was like the X-Men show on Fox. Yeah. And I got to do a stunt where like we were being like arrested, and so it was like a bunch of mutants getting arrested, and that was one of my favorites. Because the stunt coordinator was like, "Can you like run on this wall?" And I was like, yes. Because usually they're like, can you do this thing? And you're like, I think so. Or like, yeah, you can, but you're also kind of like, oh, let me figure out how to do this. But that was like the first time I was like, yes. I was like, yes, I can do that. I know exactly how to do that. I'm embarrassingly, I'm embarrassed to admit how much I know how to do that. Because when I first ever did parkour, I thought the idea of running on a wall like the Prince of Persia was the coolest thing. So I would practice it over and over.
How would you be embarrassed? Dude, if I could do that, let me tell you, that one, I would not be embarrassed at all. Because if I could do that, I would literally go to like my local Target, and when people were walking out, I would just rip that out just to do it. So people, like, when I see football players after they score a touchdown or do something, they just do a backflip. I'm like, if I could do that, I would just be walking down the street, and when there's a bunch of people, I'd be like, watch this, flip. I've often said, and Dennis can vouch for this, I've often said that if I was like really jacked and built, I would walk around everywhere with no shirt on. If they said, can't you read the sign, no shoes, no shirt, no service, I'd go, are you seriously denying this? I mean, that is why I firmly believe God put me in this body, because he knows if I was in a jacked body, I would abuse the crap out of it.
And because he knew how modest you were.
Not at all.
That's funny.
You know, Larry was asking about, he says, well, I can do cartwheels and flips. And that's true. In a pool on a diving board, I can do all that. Outside of the pool, I don't look so cool off a diving board. If you've ever seen Beverly Hills Ninja, yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
But can you do? And now that I thought of it, can you just stand and do a flip or no? Because you're too tall. Because I would assume
I can do backflips. I just don't like them. I prefer side flips or front flips. Those are much more enjoyable for me. Yeah, backflips are just like, I don't know, they're weird. They're not weird. They're easy, and they're not easy, but they're like, of the flips, they're technically the easiest because they're the easiest to like generate the physics for. But I don't like them because you're going backwards, and that's scary.
The front flip would scare me because going through my head, I'd be like, I'm just going to land on my head, break my neck, end up as a quadriplegic just because I tried to do a front flip.
Front flips are easier. So I'll tell you, yeah. So on the board, I can do front flips, banana mans, all of that stuff. The back flip, I was on the high dive, and I was doing a back flip, and I went up, never went back. All of a sudden, and because there's no board on there, it's a platform,
right?
And all of a sudden, my chin came right down, hit, snap. I went falling back into it. The good news was I was almost knocked unconscious when I hit the water. That lifeguard was really hot. She had to dive in after me and bring me up. You fake a little mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. It is worth it. But, man, I was straight from here to eternity for a month.
Oh, my God.
So, yes, front flips are easier.
Okay.
Mentally. Yeah. Yeah.
So in Black Panther, in the fight scene, it's been a long time since I've seen it. What's your estimation on how many minutes of screen time that fight took compared to how long did it actually take to film?
That is a good question. I do not know the exact minutes, though.
Well, no, but like an estimate. Like I haven't seen it. Like if I just saw it, I could probably be like, oh, that fight scene lasted 10 minutes. But
no, that's a great question. I mean, it's like the fight itself is like, if you're watching it, it's like, let's say like 8 minutes, I guess.
Yeah.
But then it took us like 5 days to shoot it. And that was the reshoots of it too. So like it took more than that to film it. I mean, that's film. Like film is like, so that's a good question. I can answer that better with a Predator example. So there's a scene in Predator where fugitive Predator swings into the back of a truck, and it like he slashes up a bunch of guys, and then sticks the cut off hand with the thumbs up, which is wacky, into the thing, and then they drive away. The scene itself is like, I don't know, like 10 seconds maybe. Maybe longer. Let's say it's like 20 seconds. Very short scene. That was 12 hours of shooting.
That was 12 hours?
That was 12 hours in the middle of the night of shooting. That was like the most uncomfortable 12 hours of my life.
Wow. Well, awful. Because it was in that
awful 12 hours.
It was in that van.
Yeah.
And once again, I've seen the movie. Dennis can attest. My memory's awful for things.
No, that's good.
I assume that it wasn't a real van because the shots they had to get, a wall would be pulled off or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, that would have been a good idea.
So it was a real van that they tried to work around?
It was a real van, and I hated every minute.
Where the hell did the cameraman go?
Wait, quick question. Can we curse on this thing?
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
I hate every fucking minute of that fucking van, all right? Let me tell you about this goddamn fucking piece of shit. Sorry.
Well, it was basically, so we should clarify van, because if I remember right, it wasn't just like a cargo van. It was more like a box truck, like a U-Haul, wasn't it?
It's like a covered military truck, like an open back covered truck. Yeah. Because like first week of rehearsals, they were like, you're going to do this fight. You're going to come into this van. And you're gonna kill these guys, and I was like, okay. And then they like showed me the choreography, and I was like, I don't think I can do that in the suit. And they're like, no, you're being negative. I'm like, I'm not. I'm just like, I don't think that's gonna work. the way you guys think it's gonna work. and then I was like, also, I'm tall now. Like, and in the suit, I'm taller. I don't think I'm gonna fit in a van. Like, did you ever watch like the Firefest documentary?
No.
Well, there's basically this part where the guy like people keep coming to him and they're like, hey, this isn't gonna work. And he's all like, I don't need your negativity. You're being negative. Like that was kind of what was happening. And so I was like, hey guys, I'm gonna be too tall for this van situation. And they're like, no, don't be negative. And I was like, okay, like real-time gaslighting where you're like, okay, I guess I'm just, I'm new to this. I guess I'm being negative. So like fast forward like 2 months. And I remember like I walk, like, and it was a night shoot, which I'm mad about. We did a night shoot because the scene was at night, but we filmed it inside the sound stage. So it did not have to be at night.
Right.
So night shoot, I go in at like 8 p.m., like prepping for all night because we don't leave until like sun comes up. So I go in, we suit up, we walk in, and this truck is just sitting there. And I was like, that's too small. And then I get in, and like literally I can't stand in this thing. I'm like back to the ceiling, and they're like, oh, he's too tall for the truck. And I'm just like so glad the Predator head is on. Because I was like, I'm about to curse y'all out right now. I cannot believe this. So like, and then they try to get me to do the choreography, which like the guy who choreographed it, awesome guy, but he was all like, it's gonna be like this. And I'm like, I can't do that. Like I have to like Predator's big swings because of it. Big arms, big chest, big body. So like not only can I not do the choreography that they choreographed, I can't fit in the truck. And we proceed to just figure it out. And so I walked around. I was like this. Fighting. Like, I'm like full squat, like fighting for 12 hours. It's a miracle I didn't rip my hamstrings in half. And at the end of it, I'm like doing the thing, and I can't see because I'm wearing the mask. I can't see.
Right.
And there's like fake blood being squirted at me. I remember at one point, I didn't realize I'm just punching the other stunt guy in the face because I'm like trying to do like a stunt pull, but I can't see. And at one point I leaned in and I was like, dude, did I just hit you in the face? And he's all like, dude, it's fine. Let's just get through this. Like we're all dying together. Like nobody's having fun. We're hating this. I can't fit in the truck. And they tried to do this thing where like if this is the truck, like, and this is the back of the truck.
Yeah.
And like they tried to have me swing in to the back of the truck. Does that make sense? And so they like had me wired up, which the wire vest, actually I can show y'all because I'm packing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're getting the full story on this one.
I love it.
So this is a stunt harness.
So you have your, so I mean, what I love about this is all this stuff comes up. So you have your own stunt harness?
Yeah, we all do because they have to make these custom for every person.
Custom. Yeah.
Oh,
so
okay.
like you put it on. So anytime in any movie you've ever seen someone like kick someone, the other person flies away.
Oh yeah.
The person flying away is wearing one of these.
Right.
They go very tight, and then this part like comes around here on both sides, right? It's extremely uncomfortable because it's not supposed to be comfortable. You know, I mean, it's a stunt harness. And so, but with Predator, I had to put that on and then put the suit on.
That's what I was going to ask. You had to...
It was torture. I'd be wearing the stunt harness for like 8 hours.
Wow.
And it's just like, I don't care who you are. Like I I always jokingly say like I deserve an award for the level of cool I would keep because I'd just be sitting there like this. And everyone's like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. But like I'm in excruciating pain, but I'm just like, I'm putting that over here. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I'm trying to show off. And so they tried to do this bit where they had to be swing in. And so I harnessed up just for this bit. And the bit didn't work. Like it did not make sense. Like it wouldn't have made sense if I could fit in the truck, but I couldn't fit in the truck, Andy. Like it didn't work. So then they're like, oh, we didn't need to do this. So now I'm in pain, and then I have to squat, and then I have to try to fight my friends, but I can't fight them, so I'm hurting my friends. And it just was like this terrible 12 hours. And then when you watch the movie, it's like 20 seconds, and you're like, why did we do all that? Like, you're like, why did that happen? Why did we do all that? And that's like the hard thing with filmmaking, man, is sometimes you see a thing back, you're like, yeah, that was awesome. But sometimes you're like, why'd y'all put me through that? Like, like, what did we do that for?
Especially when you're like, I told you 2 months ago.
That was so I think the funniest thing I came out of this movie with, because, you know, like people ask, like, did you keep anything? And it's like, no, I didn't keep anything. But the thing I gained the most from this movie was like, I grew up as a person. Like, we filmed this when I was like 28, I think.
Yeah.
And I went into that film being like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, I'll do whatever. Yeah, like, I can do that. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I can do that. And I came out of that film being like, I need this now, thank you. Like, because like I learned, like, oh man, if you let people, like, I hate saying this because it sounds kind of negative, but it's just like, if you are like, yeah, I'll do whatever, they will kill you. Like,
right. They'll take it literally.
Kill you.
Yeah.
They will kill you. And you have to be like, yes, I want to do this. I am excited, and I need to make sure that this is safe. You know what I mean? Like, you got to be like, because there's a middle. You don't have to be like, and that's why a lot of actors get kind of shitty, and they get like, I need this, damn it, like, is because they think like that's the only way around that. But it's like, no, you can be in the middle. Like, you can be like, hey, I'm stoked, let's do it. Also, I cannot breathe right now. Can we fix that? I need to fix that. You know what I mean? Right. Like, there's like a cool direct way to, and that's what I had to learn how to do, because damn, like, yeah, after that, I mean, that night was like, that was like a turning point, that night in the truck. Cause in it like Dennis, what you were saying, it's like looking back in the beginning at how I was like, hey, I don't know if I'm gonna fit in the truck. And then going right into like, oh, he doesn't fit in the truck. Like, I learned like, oh, I should have been like a little more Denzel Washington about that. Like,
so how did they? And I am going to tonight. I'm going to search it because I'm sure it's on one of the platforms to watch. Because I want to rewatch it, but
I think it's on Hulu.
How did you end up entering the truck in the movie then?
I don't even remember.
You were in it.
Hold on. I'm about to look this up right now because I have a bunch of clips that I saved for like when I made my reel.
Oh yeah, if you find it, we can share the screen and show it.
I don't remember.
Well, while you're doing that, another question I had is, during the fight, was it times where you were obviously fighting with other stunt guys that were taking place of the actors, but were there shots where you were with the regular actors as well in the truck fighting?
I'll say one more time. I was looking for the clip.
Oh no. Well, so basically, and I know it took 12 hours to film, and he took it down to 20 seconds or whatever. Was there a time, and to use an analogy that's real simple, if Dennis and I were doing a fight, if we were brawling and the camera was far enough away, they'd have two stunt guys doing it that were our build and stuff, so you could tell, you wouldn't be able to tell. But for close-up stuff, they might be like, okay, you stand here, we're going to put the camera back here because there's no way to really measure the depth. Andy, come across with a hook. Dennis, move your head like this. So when you were fighting in the truck, were there instances where you were doing it with the real actors, and then instances where you were doing it with their stunt doubles?
So no, because there were no lead characters in that scene.
Oh, okay.
It was just like henchmen, soldiers, random dudes.
Okay.
And so, but if there were, right, like, yes to what you said, like, if it's far enough away, they'll always try to do a stunt person, unless the actor's like, no, I'm gonna do my own stunts, which could be great and it could be terrible. Like, it could be terrible if they're like not as good as the stunt person in like sword play or fighting.
Sure.
Or like if they don't really know how to pull punches. Like Trevante Rhodes definitely punched me in the face last November. It's for like a Mike Tyson thing. It was for a Mike Tyson thing we were doing, and I play another boxer that he fights. that Mike Tyson fought because he fought Eddie Richardson, and Eddie Richardson's like 6'8", and so I played Eddie Richardson, and Trey was gonna like get me like that, and like definitely like got me in the nose, but luckily I was already reacting, so like it didn't like hook, you know what I mean? And then like they're cut. He's like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no, it's cool. Like,
so you broke your nose and got your ear bit at the same time.
I know, right? Luckily, I wasn't Holyfield. So, but no, like I said, luckily, like I was moving, so it didn't hurt. But damn, like,
is what you're talking about from last November? Is that out now for people to see, or
no? They're still filming that. I don't even know if I'm supposed to say I was on that, but whatever. Yeah, man. Like for stunt fighting, it's supposed to be like it's so you have this idea called cross camera. So cameras here, here, anywhere in here works. You know, if I like, cross camera. If we don't cross camera, that's not going to sell, right?
Sure.
And so that's kind of like the act of stunt fighting is learning how to cross camera. But yeah, so for this scene, there was all stunt people, which is good because like stunt people like they can take a lot more shit. So like if there's a scene with all stunt people, we can like kind of it can be dirtier, it can go a little faster. Like there's a lot of scenes where you put the lead actors in there and somebody they're like, oh, I'm tired. How much longer are we doing this? And I'm like, dude, like buckle up, like
buckle up, son.
Like we didn't even start yet. What are you talking about? And so yeah.
Well, speaking of like the crossing camera and stuff, have you ever been to a live wrestling show, a WWF or WWE?
I've never actually been to one, no.
So I know a couple of the guys that used to work for them for WWE, and I've been to a bunch of live shows because if they're in town, he'd be like, oh yeah, I can get you tickets. And, you can definitely tell there's camera side. So, when you're watching on TV, there's camera side. So if you're sitting camera side, everything looks pretty copacetic. But if you're not, you can easily see like, oh, that guy totally didn't even get hit. When they're throwing something or a leg drop, stuff like that, you can totally see, the behind the scene, inside baseball stuff, watching it live. But, everybody knows it's entertainment. Now, once again, those guys are in great physical shape for the stuff they have to do. So I'm not discounting anything. But, it is neat because they know where the camera setup is, the main camera. I mean, there's always the guys on the floor walking around too. So they always want to try and sell everything. Mm-hmm. But at certain times I've seen wrestling stuff where it's like, man, that didn't even land.
Yeah. No, it's very similar to that. Sometimes you worry about it because you'll be doing it and you're like, that didn't look good. But then you look back at the camera, you're like, oh, that looked amazing. We did on the Mike Tyson thing, I'm really excited to see that because they have this camera, I think it's called Panther camera. Like, dude, I don't know. It was like something very high frames a second. Very, very high. Like hundreds, maybe thousands of frames a second. And they did these like close-up shots. And it was cool because they like the person with the glove would kind of just do like that, like that much. And you're like, that's not gonna look good. But then you look back and it looks like the dude just got smashed in the face.
Really?
It picks up so much that like a light punch, you could see the waves going through and the sweat coming on. Like it was cool. And so like there's a lot of really cool like movie magic stuff like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
How I don't know, that's the coolest thing about film to me. Is like there are so many things that go into a shot that you don't even consider just for it to fake looking like the real thing,
So Marcus is asking, is it frustrating to wait to see this work you did on a film, from the time when you filmed it to, man, I can't wait to see it, on the big screen or whatever?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, that happens like it's like anything you do, like you could, I think any art you do, like when you finally see it come out, you're always gonna like pick it apart and like things are always gonna not look how you want them to. I always try to go with low expectations just so I can be like pleasantly surprised if things are good. But yeah, there's definitely things where I'm like, oh, that could look better. That could look cooler. But I always try to like learn from it. So like, okay, like so next time more. Like the show I was just on Monday, like I felt like I was a little reserved compared to like the other actors. They're all very like over the top. And I remember when we were filming, it felt over the top, not like in a bad way. I was just like, oh,
Right.
they're going like extreme with it. That's cool. But then like when you watch it back, you're like, oh, that extreme on TV translates as baseline. And so I felt like my character was just kind of like way too reserved. And so like in the thing I learned from that was like, okay, I'm gonna like next time I do comedy, I'm gonna like go way over. Like I'm gonna like exaggerate way more. But yeah, for sure. Like it's that's just part of the process, is like being a little disappointed with how something comes out sometimes. So
What was your real quick optimized person here wants to know, or opinionated person? I didn't have it blown up yet. Alien or Predator?
that's like asking like a representative of Coca-Cola, like what do you like better, Coke or Pepsi? It's like,
Exactly. You were the Predator.
Say?
You can't say Alien.
Like even if it was Alien, like after that experience, like it just has to be Predator, because I've been like indoctrinated so much more into the Predator. Like
so the truck scene. The truck scene sounds like if you were going to pick your worst experience filming the movie, what would it be? Would you call it that truck scene because it was 12 hours of intense hell? Or
he swore a lot. That tells me it's right up there.
Yeah.
It's gotta be the truck scene, because like, and the funny thing is, I don't even think that was the most physically intense thing we did. It's just that like the other physically intense stuff, like, had a better payout, or I was like more in control. Like that, like, you know what I mean? Like we did, like everything we did in that lab scene where I'm escaping from the laboratory, that shit was hard. That was so hard because the head was on, like the heavy head, and it was animatronic head the whole time. And they had to glue it to the body because he was bare chested. And so I was in the head for like 6-7 hours straight, just like in the head. And usually it would come off sometimes, but I was just in it. So that was really, really hard, but it was also really, really fun because it was like, it was so cool. Like I would hit this guy, and then a wire would yank him through a wall. And it was just like so fun, like doing that all together. The truck scene was probably the worst part. Like I gotta think. And keep in mind, there was a day I passed out, and it was not the truck scene. And I would argue the truck scene was worse than when I physically passed out from heat exhaustion.
Wow.
Because before I passed out from heat exhaustion, that was really fun. But the truck scene was just like, it was like a combination of the being extremely physically uncomfortable. It was dark. I couldn't see. It was like all of the negative parts about wearing the suit, all the worst parts about wearing the suit happened at the same exact time. And then on top of that, it felt so just avoidable. It just felt like, like if I was an investor, I'd be so mad. I'd be like, why did I put money into this scene? Like, give it back. Like, because it just was like it didn't need to happen. Here, I pulled up the clip if y'all want to see it.
Oh yeah. Do you know how to share your screen?
Like, cease and desist. I don't, but let me.
There should be a thing down below that says share.
Okay, cool.
At the bottom of the screen.
At the bottom of the screen.
All right, let me.
And then if you click share, you'll pick which screen. And you just have to hit there's a little button for audio in the lower left that you have to hit if there's audio you want to hear.
Google Chrome would like to record this computer screen.
Nope.
Do I tell it not to do that?
No, it shouldn't record it. So at the bottom of the screen, there should be a bar that says mute, stop cam settings.
Yeah, okay, I got it. Share.
Yeah.
Did it do it?
Well, no. Once you click share, a window comes up, and you have to pick which screen. Like, do you have one monitor or two?
Oh, here it is. Yeah, I see it.
Okay.
I see it. Okay, give me 1 second. Sorry.
Yeah, take your time.
Monitor. Sorry, people watching. Here we are, just like.
Nah, that's all good.
We're also an educational show.
Yeah, exactly.
Am I sharing? Is it happening?
Nope.
Chrome has lost permission to capture your screen.
It should be captured. That's weird.
I think it wants me to let it do a thing. Hold on a second. Let me just do it. Use password.
Because I assume you have one screen.
Yeah, one screen.
So what'll happen is when you click on share, you'll just see a window open with a small
No,
screen.
I see it. Like it's opening up, but Chrome is telling me that I don't have permissions to.
I don't know why. That's weird that Chrome's even saying anything.
Yeah, I've
but-
never heard that.
It says like go to system preferences, unlock screen by using lock. Chrome and check. Restart. I have to restart Chrome in order to do it.
Nah, don't worry about
Yeah,
it.
I don't want to do that.
What's up,
Actually,
Joe?
hold on. I can do this because I am using a second screen, but I'm mirroring it, so I'm just going to play it on the small one. Give me 1 second to pull it up. Oh, the scene in the truck, man. No, not there. Almost.
No, that's fine.
Found it. I found it.
I was also going to ask, you found it, but do you have the short reel on your IMDb or no?
Yeah, I have like a other reel, but it's not this scene.
Okay.
Okay. Can y'all see?
Are you going to hold it up in front of your camera?
Yeah.
Hold on, I want to go
Can you see
solo.
this?
Hold it up. Got to go higher.
Higher. There you go.
There you go. Now you can hit play.
Does that work?
Yeah, that's
Yep.
good.
Right. So there's the truck.
Yep.
So that guy gets knifed. And then I'm just already in the truck.
Oh.
Slashing.
Dude, you really can't tell that you're squatted down like you said.
You can't see any of the things we did here. Like
Oh, that's awesome.
And that's the truck, and then it leaves,
Oh, yeah.
and then I just sit out.
That was 12 hours.
That was
I know.
the longest 12 hours.
I would have to assume that they were hoping to use more of it, and they weren't.
Oh yeah,
like,
and
yeah,
that's the
it's
thing.
going to be 20 seconds, but we'll take 12 to shoot.
Like they were gonna like use a lot more of it, but then like it didn't work. You know what I mean? Like and
yeah,
and
when
I,
they played it back.
yeah, and I feel like partially responsible because it's like I knew going in it wasn't gonna work because it was like I was like I can't stand in the truck, and so
Yeah,
it
but I
was
mean, there's
like
nothing-
reaction shots. You know,
I don't know, man. I wouldn't feel responsible. You told them,
yeah,
and then you did the best you could.
yeah.
You know, because I'm sure when they looked at more of the footage, and I assume you saw a lot more of the footage, they could be like, oh, yeah, you can really tell he's squatting down.
Yeah,
That
like,
doesn't work.
yeah.
I mean,
like
most vans are only just over 6 foot tall from the ground. So if you're standing there like, I'm taller than the van.
Yeah, I mean, when you were standing
Yeah.
next to that truck, the top of your head was probably even with it because it was a bigger truck.
it was like I mean, you definitely had to climb into it, but it just like the logistics weren't there. Like it was just interesting. This is like I think I don't know. It's annoying knowing how my height works in situations and having somebody just be like, it's like when someone tells me like, oh, you should buy these shoes, and I'm like, they don't come in my size, and they're like, oh, I bet they do, and I'm like, I've been wearing size 15 shoes since I was a 15-year-old person. Like, I know how this goes. Like, it's like that moment where
Yeah.
Yes.
you know how this is gonna go, but they act like, oh no, like you're being negative. You're like, okay, like, so, yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it. That's funny. What was your what was the pass out story real quick?
Oh shit. So in that one, I'm wearing the emissary costume, which is the one that was cut out. To answer Joe's question, it's the Predator from 2018. And so we walk up into the alien spaceship, and all the main characters, all like 8 of them or whatever, are there, and they're all talking to each other. And then we show up, and it turns out that we're actually good guys all along. To help humanity for some, and which like the leaked script is all online. And if you ever read the leaked script, like that's what we shot. Like, we shot that. And so we walk up in there, and they actually made us physically walk up the giant loading ramp to the spaceship. And we did that over and over and over. And then while the humans were talking, we were just like acting while they were all interacting. And then we did that over and over and over and over. And like literally, I just hit a point where I was like, "Yo, I need a break." And so similar to the truck thing, I was like, "Hey, I need a break." And they're like, "Oh, well, like we really got to get these shots." So it's like, "Yeah, I need a break though. Like I gotta chill. And they're like, no, like we gotta get these shots though. Like me being a pushover at the time, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, okay, all right, okay. And then like we did the thing, and then I was like, hey, my heartbeat's going like really fast. I need a break. And they're like, oh, well, like we really gotta get these shots. And I was like, okay, all right, okay. And so like we walk up the ramp. And I remember getting up there and I take one last step and I started being like, holy shit, I am so tired. But I was like, it's cool. I'm just going to take one deep breath and I'll be fine. I take one deep breath and then I'm just like laying on the ground.
Oh, no.
And I just see like hands over my face and they're Mike's hands. And Mike pulls the head off. And I was like, what the hell happened? And he's like, you passed out. And everyone's freaking out and the EMTs are there. And I was like, oh, sorry, guys. Like,
Oh, no.
so I'm like there, and they like peel the suit off, and then the medic comes in. He's like, he has heat exhaustion. He's not even sweating. Like this is bad. Like you have to go to the hospital in 5 minutes if you didn't get him out of there. And then they have like an oxygen mask on me, and I'm just like coming to, trying to figure out what's going on. And this was a bad move on my part, because never do this. Like kids at home, never do this. So I have the oxygen mask on, and then the first AD, I hear him talking because they're like, what happened? Why did he pass out? And then the first AD was like, oh, well, he didn't say anything. And I ripped the mask off and go, the hell I didn't say anything. What do you mean I didn't say anything? And then he's like, Brian, put your mask back on. Put the oxygen back. I was like, tell me I didn't. Oh, I was about to light that up. Oh, my God. I was so mad. I've never been that mad in my life. I'm like, I just passed out and you are blaming me for passing out? You must be out of your damn mind. Are you kidding me? Out of here with that mess. Now, I need to state, this is not Shane Black's fault. This is not Shane. This is not his fault. This was like a chain of command under Shane Black where everybody was afraid of being in trouble to the point that whoever I talked to wouldn't communicate what I was saying. And then I passed out. And it was cool because after that I had to have a meeting with the executive producers, and they were cool because they were like, hey, so what happened? And I told them the whole story. And then like that was like a cool moment for me, like as an adult, basically. Because I was like, real talk. Like I was like, have I complained once? And they're like, no. I'm like, yeah. So if I'm saying I need a break, I need a fucking break. Like I'm not trying to get M&Ms or like a fucking mojito on set. Like I just need time to chill so we can keep working. I'm here to do this, to work on this movie. I want to make a good movie, like, but if you guys kill me, I can't do that. And they were like, yeah, he's right. That's legit. Yeah, he's right. So, but after that, I would still have to argue with the ADs because they would try to just like push me. And that's kind of what I said about my point earlier. Is like in film and probably life, right? Like if you are just like, if you try to be the cool guy that everybody can work with, and like people will take advantage of that as much as possible. And it's just really frustrating that that's true. So, yeah. I mean, like coming from an art standpoint, right? Like I've done illustration. I went to art school. Like I've done commission art before. And like, you see those younger kids who are like, oh, I'll do commission for like $20. And you gotta be like, no, don't do that. Like, they're gonna run you over with that,
Yep.
So.
Yep. No, I totally get that.
So I know Randy had asked, I know we're getting towards the end. Randy had asked, what do you got coming up that you can actually talk about and things that is in the works?
Not much, unfortunately. It's this main thing that's coming up, the one I'm going to tomorrow, and I can't say anything about it right now.
No,
all I can say is I'm playing a werewolf in a movie, so that should be fun.
More makeup and stuff.
Yeah, more suit. It's another suit thing, which I'm stoked about because it's like.
Did you get fitted for it and stuff, or?
Yeah, I had my fitting last week. It's not like a molded thing; it's a lot looser than that.
Oh, okay, cool.
But yeah, I'm excited about it. So.
Oh, awesome!
Well, now I'm going to because you brought up werewolf. Is it something that? Well, no. This is more technical. So, because how they'll mix practical with digital. Will they do digital enhancements, you think? Or is it literally this
probably
is practical?
No, probably. Like there's definitely some parts of the suit where they'll have to like erase some parts that are showing.
Yeah.
So probably. That's pretty standard with film.
Okay.
start practical and then edit things away.
Okay, so last one, because we don't want to take too much of your time and stuff. What wait, what did he say? Joe says, I know I'm late to the show, but how did you get into this?
It was a very integral part of the beginning. So as soon as we're done, I'll set it up to process, and then you'll be able to go back and watch it. He'll explain it all because it's great.
So already answered.
Well, so at Fayetteville, we talked about the premiere of Predator. It's totally up to you if you want to talk about that story or no.
Oh man. Maybe. Because that is more of an angering story, and I'm just not sure what we're trying to leave the audience with here.
Well, I mean, I found it to be kind of entertaining, but
yeah. So I guess which before I forget, if anyone wants to follow me on Instagram, go ahead and follow me on Instagram.
Oh yeah, what's your Instagram?
It's the BA Prince. So it's like TheBaprince.
Same as Twitter then?
Same as Twitter. Yeah. So my Twitter and my Instagram, which I just made a new artist Instagram. And I say that because I'm gonna be posting a lot more Predator stuff in the future. I have hundreds of photos and videos from production that I just never did anything with. And now I'm finally working with a social media person who can help me keep my head on straight. And so we're gonna be posting a lot more. But yeah, basically, so what happened was I was not invited to the premiere of my movie.
What?
Yeah, that's just how people react to that. You're like, yeah, I wasn't invited. And they're like, why? And you're like, because as every Predator fan on the face of the earth will probably agree with, there is a problem with the Predator movies where they tend to be way too much about the humans and not enough about the aliens. There, I said it. I don't think anyone here is going to have a problem.
Well, you know what's actually funny? They haven't done, and I've seen them all, but my memory, like I always say, is crap. But as far as I can remember, there really hasn't been a movie about the Predators on their planet. Just do a whole movie on their planet, and then even take it to the point of you could have them, when they're communicating with some subtitles, but then you could have it kind of morph over into just them talking, and we get the gist that, yes, they don't speak English, but now we understand that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. And the issue is that the Predator franchise has found itself in a weird place where people associate it with monster movies, you know what I mean? Monster in the House movies.
Yeah.
But it's its own sci-fi world and franchise.
Right.
And there's all these cool elements and lore, and people want that. And I think the Hollywood execs argue, and they think no, that wouldn't take off, it wouldn't be popular. I disagree. I'm also biased because if they make that, I want to be in it. But
of course.
But the thing is, it's unfortunately that's also very true on the Hollywood bureaucracy side. So when you're on a movie like that with 8 main characters and they're all high profile actors or whatever, and then you're the freaking Predator, you are below all of them. It's just how it is. Hollywood's a giant, like I said, it's a giant classist machine. And literally they just were oh, we'll invite all of the lead cast, but we're not going to invite the guy who actually played the character. And that was crazy because it just happened. They were like the premiere is next week, and I was I did not get an invitation. I was texting a friend, and I was are you going? And he's yeah, aren't you? And I was I was not invited. And so I was pretty salty about it, to be honest, because it's
I can imagine.
You put in all this work on a project, and they don't even invite you to the launching of it. And
right.
That's because you passed out.
They're
I know, right?
They're sending invites out, and one guy's I'll take that one. He passed out. We'll just put that over here.
Right. And it's because I remember too, somebody asked Thomas Jane, and he's oh, they kept passing out. And it's as a joke. And I was I'm sorry, bro. Were you wearing 85 pounds? Were you carrying around 100 degrees and 85 pounds? Were you? No, you didn't. Of course I passed out. You know what I mean? And so it was just it was kind of the spit in the. It felt like getting spat in the face for to be honest. And so Kyle, who played one of the other Predators, he also didn't get the invite. And the character he played was cut out of the movie completely. But basically, we were like, nah, we're gonna go. And so we just went anyway, because he figured out where it was, and we just freaking Ubered up and just walked the red carpet anyway. And nobody stopped us because they're all like, yeah, that's Brian. He was in the movie. Now, granted, there's probably somebody there that was like, why is he here? But it's like, deal with it. I'm here. And so, yeah, we went anyway. And are you guys still here? I think I lost you. Is it just me? Is it my show now? Like, I don't know what to do with this. Well, I guess I'll keep talking. Okay,
Hey, you see us?
I was
We're
like,
back.
Is it my show now? I don't know what to do.
Dude, my internet. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of a massive thunderstorm, and I don't know if you guys could hear the thunder and lightning, but it was rolling before, and then all of a sudden you froze, and we're like, oh, Brian froze, and then we froze, and then this froze, and that froze. We all froze.
That's great. Hold on. Let me read this real quick. Randy Howe, thank you for the $5. Great show, DNA and Brian. Congrats to Andy. The printed books are being shipped. Yes, they are, Randy.
Nice.
Hopefully, I'll start fulfilling next week.
First man time.
Fantastic.
Oh, look, there it is.
Yeah. So now it's popping up. We can see you running solo. Woo!
Yeah, there you go.
We'll have to go back and watch it ourselves.
Yeah, we'll have to go back and see how you did.
Yeah, but that's the whole story. Is like I went anyway. It was really fun to go. I'm glad I went. It's just a weird Hollywood thing where like you could be the main character, like the titular name of the movie, but like there's a whole like casting hierarchy and things like that, and it's surreal. So I don't know. It's a weird world.
Well, I tell you what, we are going to wrap it up in case the internet happens again. I don't want to deal with that. That's
Do you have a Facebook page? I know one of the guys asked.
Yeah, I do. It's I can't remember what it's called. I think it's just Brian A. Prince.
Well, just I put the your screen name in for Instagram and Twitter, which is at the BA Prince.
Yeah,
so
I'm most active
follow
on
Brian there.
Yeah, if you tweet me, I'll respond. That's like my thing. Just don't DM me. People like to DM me, and I'm like, no, just tweet me. Like,
there you go.
My DM box gets like too full, and I won't see it. I'm sorry. But
yeah,
if you tweet
I
me,
hear you.
I literally will respond to anything. Like, and so it's just like that's my boundary there.
No, that's cool. Thanks for coming on, dude. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, this is awesome. I had a lot of fun. So.
We're gonna end it, but do not leave the stream because I'll talk to you for a couple minutes after we sign off.
Cool.
Everybody, thank you for joining us with our chat with Brian. It was really fun. I could talk about this stuff forever.
He could, and he'll probably continue talking about it over supper.
I will. I'll start rattling Dennis's ear off about it and stuff. So, it was fun. So I'm just looking through our little videos here to see which one I want to leave you guys with.
Oh, we got to do the Chuck Norris one. Oh, no, we got to do Zoolander.
Okay, one with that one.
Because I feel like going monk.
That's right. Hold on. It's this one. Okay, guys, we'll see you later. Maybe we'll pop on Friday to talk a little Moon Knight season finale. We'll have to see.
Moon Knight's wrapping up. I'm going to start working on my X-Men storytelling. And, yep, how about them apples?
There you go. And go check out First Man Volume 2 on Indiegogo. The link is in the description below. I should be getting the printed books this week, so back it now. Until next time, bye-bye, everybody.
Live long and prosper.